Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Patriots Den on Radiodabang. I am your host, Patrick Prudhomme, and I'm here with my amazing, my wonderful, benevolent co-host, Brian Fuentesimo. How are you, Brian?
Doing amazing. This summer, has been really great. And, it kind of sucks. We're seeing the end of it.
We are seeing the end of it, folks. The summer went by really quickly. But before the summer, decided to end, people decided to, start making a lot of announcements. Nancy Mace is running for governor. Can you believe it?
No, I frankly can't. I don't think I've heard anyone really go against Abbott in a while. I mean, we had Beto try.
Nancy Mace isn't running for governor in Texas. She's running for governor in either North or South Carolina. It's one of the Carolinas. I don't know. But it's crazy. She said, we need a governor, big announcement coming soon. And then she announced she was running for governor. A lot of people have been making these big announcements.
One could even say big, beautiful announcements.
Oh, no, nothing about her announcement was big or beautiful.
I'm saying other people did, though.
But other people did make big, beautiful announcements. And it's interesting when you look at it, right? A lot of interesting things going on. Texas Democrats have fled the state, never to be seen again. Some of them, the Senate Democrats came back, but the Texas House Democrats, they're like, we're not coming back. They're still gone on their little vacation or hiatus. Let's see. D.C. is under control right now. There's a lot to talk about today, folks, and we're going to get into it. Let's start off with D.C. And I'm not sure if you've seen, Brian, but D.C. is ranked 4th in homicides as a city in America as of 2024. And everyone was like, oh, my goodness, it's had this 30-year drop. And I go, you went from being 4th to being 7th with this 30-year drop. This drop that hasn't been seen in 30 years. If your accomplishment is we're no longer top 5 or top 10, then sure. But when you want to completely eradicate criminal behavior, and have you been to D.C.?
No, I haven't.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I'll share my inauguration story. When I was there for the inauguration, the streets are so filthy that, it snowed the entire time we were there. And as soon as the snow hit the ground, it'd go black, yellow, from just the homelessness of people peeing. There was a certain time where you had to be inside because carjacking and homicides were at an all-time high at this time. They were 4th, only to be, beat out by Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis. These are trends, Democrat-run cities with these high crime rates. So Trump has finally taken over, and I'm not sure if you've seen the videos of it, but it looks like how the inauguration looked, with the black barriers up, the military running around. There was a video of one woman. They were outside past the curfew, so the police stepped in and said, you got to go inside. There's another video of a guy who I guess they're telling him he has to go inside, but he's like, no, I'm eating my food. And he takes a Subway sandwich and throws it at the police officers. It was the funniest thing. And they chase him all the way down the street. But right now, there's a liberal outcry of, being anti-law and order. They're complaining and they're fighting against the Republican Party and the Trump administration for wanting to limit crime. And it shows a lot about the Democrat Party, Brian.
Yeah, that's just a big thing, not even just with Democrats or, here in the U.S., but just worldwide. You saw it in Salvador as well. It used to be one of the most dangerous countries in all of Central America. President came in and said, no, we're going to put an end to it. Send in the military, send everyone who needed to go to jail to jail. And even to this day, we have people complaining about human right violations. We're not respecting these criminals as, human rights. I'm like, what are you even saying? Right. These people would kill and rape in their country, and they would be let out of the jails whenever they wanted to. But now that we're sending them where they're supposed to go, now we're supposed to care about their human rights. But, that's on that end of it. But after this is all done, said and done, Salvador is now one of the safest countries in Latin America after this is all done. So law and order does work. It does, reduce the crime as long as you commit to it. Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing that needs to be done here. It has to be committed. because, Trump's administration has had a lot of accomplishments. However, a lot of it is just theatrics, unfortunately, where they do a big push the first week and then they completely stop doing it the week after it's no longer in the news.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping DC is not an example of that, because I do want to go visit it one day, and I'd hate to, get carjacked or killed
Right.
while in DC.
And it's funny because the Democrats on TikTok, the TikTok Democrats always are going to come through for you. They are taking pictures of them at the Washington Monument or in front of the White House saying, there's nothing dangerous about here. Okay, how about you go into the actual inner cities of DC where people actually live and you tell me it's not dangerous? Yes, you have the Capitol here. That's one small fragment. But once you go further down where the apartments are, mind you, when I was at the inauguration, I walked up and down DC. I saw every single part of DC. I know people that live in DC, so it wasn't my first time.
Yeah.
My mother went to Howard University in Washington, D.C., and we go visit quite often. I know what Washington, D.C. is like when you are away from the theatrics of the Washington, D.C., when you're away from the hustle and bustle of Washington, D.C., right? And so all these people online, I put a tweet out. I think we're having a read-along kind of day. We're having a read-out kind of day.
Fun.
Let me look at it. And I put out this tweet. And I basically, I called the people, the left out for their... We got to pull it up. The internet in here it's not working for us today, Brian. Here it is. I said, thanks to President Trump, D.C. is finally being put back on the path of greatness. D.C. ranks 4th in violent crime nationally. Anyone claiming the city is safe is speaking from emotion or wishful thinking, not the reality of the facts. This is how you make America great again. Right again. Speaking from emotion or wishful thinking. It's the emotion and the idea that Trump is making America great again. This is when we say make America great again, we mean bring down crime in the capital. Right? The main area, bring that crime down. That's what it looks like. And they are complaining, they're crying, they're throwing up and slobbering at the mouth because they can't comprehend what that truly means.
Yeah. I mean, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Out of curiosity, have you also picked up on the National Guard situation as well?
I have. I've read into it a little bit. But...
Yeah. So for y'all who might not have been keeping up with the news lately, Trump is planning on having 2 sets of deployments for the National Guard. I believe one is in Phoenix and the other one is in Atlanta, I believe. Mm-hmm. And the point of this is to have a quick response force in the event of, what's the word? We'll just go with crime, in case there's a big crime wave in any part of the country. You have the West Coast, secured by the Phoenix deployment, and then you have the East Coast by the Atlanta deployment. Mm-hmm. And, the center usually doesn't really do much because no one really lives there, barring Texas. But, what's your thoughts on that? The deployment of, these big, really federal police forces, something we've never really seen before in this country. Because National Guard, you could say it's a federal force because it's part of the armed forces, but the governor still have some level of,
right.
say in it. However, this is straight federal control.
Because, like you said, the mayor of D.C. and the governors, they have some say. Mm-hmm. To fight against the Democrats trying to revert law and order, Trump has to go to the fullest extent of the law. He basically has to try to bring in, quote-unquote, authoritarianism, because if he doesn't, the Democrats will stand in the way every single time. We see it with the courts. We see it with them persecuting, not prosecuting, I said that right, persecuting their political opponents. That's what the Democrats do. So to get around the fact that the Democrat Party is so corrupt and so nasty and so vile that Trump has to go to the fullest extent just to restore safety in this country. The Democrats would rather D.C. have #1 in homicide rates than let Donald Trump save this country and to save the lives of innocent U.S. citizens.
Well, like I said, on paper, it's not the worst thing ever. I'm all for, reducing crime in this country. However, I'm a little bit cautious of the situation, just because of all the things the Trump administration has done regarding, I wouldn't say human rights. I think that's the wrong word, but the rights of the people have kind of been sidestepped a little bit. I think you're familiar with the whole situation with the Palestine protest, everything that happened there. And what I'm worried about is that this new National Guard force would be used to quell any protest that happens if we were to go to war with Iran again. Reason is, there's been a few developments in the region. We had the 12-day war, as people are calling it, where, missiles were fired. I think it was like 250 people died. However, a big thing that happened because of those missile strikes was Israel's attack on infrastructure in Iran. And right now there's a drought occurring in Iran. I think it's the worst in 50 years. And Israel is like going all the way right now. I don't know if you've been seeing this on the news, but I haven't seen it personally. I've had to do some digging to find this. They are telling the Iranian people that either you revolt or you're not going to get any water. And that's the level we're getting to in the Middle East, where Israel's trying to get regime change in Iran still. And they're doing this covertly right now through targeting the infrastructure of Iran. And as you can probably guess, the Iranian government isn't going to be very clear to just letting that happen peacefully. And my thing is that could very quickly go into a second war where the U.S. would be involved in because of our commitments to Israel. And my worry here is that Trump or the administration more broadly could use this National Guard force to quell any anti-war protests that happen, whether it be on campuses, as we've seen with recent legislation banning political activism on campus, or on the streets with the National Guard being deployed across the country.
Well, once again, for the record, I support Israel's right to defend itself full force and wholeheartedly. When it comes to Trump doing something like that, I don't see that. I also don't see those kind of protests happening in D.C., which is where he has that full authority to do that. Once you get out of D.C., if he tries to go to like Illinois or California with that, now we're crossing some legal lines that we have to answer. But in D.C., he has the full right and authority to do what he's doing right now, to restore order and peace. And I don't think that's a thought. I think right now the thought is make America safe again. That was always the message. That was the message in 2016. That was the message in 2020. That's the message in 2024. We did make America wealthy again, make America safe again, make America strong again, make America prosperous again, make America great again. And this is all a part of the agenda. Agenda 47, not Project 2025, Agenda 47, one of the key aspects in that was making America and D.C. specifically safe again. And so I can't look at the hypotheticals of what if, how can he, look what's happening over here, will that affect us? I can't look at that. I can only look at the facts of what's happening right now, how it's dressed up and presented to me.
Well, the reason I bring this up isn't without substance. I probably should have mentioned this as well. As I said earlier, deployments aren't just happening in D.C. We've had major deployments happen in Phoenix and Atlanta. Atlanta's the one I'm not sure about, but somewhere on the East Coast.
Well, I haven't seen the...
These haven't been deployed to actually fight crime. They've just been deployed there as their headquarters, so that's where they're based out of. My big problem is that the administration has already shown that they're willing to put their foreign policy interests above the interests of the common American.
I disagree. I think that...
It's Patrick, let me finish.
I think that once Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel is one of America's greatest allies, right? And in fact, we pay, pennies on the dollar to Israel compared to what they give for us, right? And so, I mean, if you look at, the Israel intelligence agency, Mossad, the greatest intelligence agency in the world, okay? That's number one. And they provide us with intel.
You wouldn't say America is the greatest in the world when it comes to intelligence?
I can say America is the greatest because of my patriotism and how I love my country. But we're going to be honest here. The intelligence over there supplies the American intelligence. The gun manufacturing, the weapons infrastructure that we have here, guns, military things. That is all working with Israel. They're the only democracy in the Middle East. They are a safe haven for America, right? And so I fully support Israel. I'm not a Christian Zionist. I know when to hold Israel accountable for their own actions, but at the same time, I support Israel. I don't support Iran. I don't support Palestine. I don't support any of the. I support Israel when it comes down to these things. Has Israel done some things that I don't agree with? Sure. Everyone's done some things that we don't agree with. But at the same time, I think that America has a larger alliance to Israel than they do to, Ukraine or Russia or, Palestine or Iran or even Egypt. We give a lot of money to Egypt and no one talks about that. Why don't we investigate what's going on? Why is it that everyone's focus is on America, Israel, America, and Israel? What about America, Egypt? Let's take a look at America.
I don't
Egypt,
think you want to.
Let's take a look at that.
All right.
That's what we'll do. Let's move on.
Well, I'll answer that question for you. Actually, I've done some research on the Egypt money. The reason why we give them so much aid is actually to buy them off so they let Israel, be in peace for the most part.
Exactly.
As you know, Egypt and Israel have gone to war at least, 5 times in the past 80 years? The whole reason we give them this much aid is to kind of tell them, hey, we'll give you billions of dollars every year as long as you don't you recognize the state of Israel. That's the reason we give Egypt so much money. So, technicality, that's technically Israel money going to Egypt. However, the reason I bring this all up is with reason. I'm worried about this being used against the American citizen, as we've seen before. I mean, are you familiar with the American citizens that were deported following their comments about Israel? Oh, sorry. About Israel?
I'm not.
Well, yeah. We had American citizens get deported, naturalized American citizens, lose their citizenship. Remember, not residents, not, migrants. American citizens lose their citizenship for their criticism of Israel. Don't you think it's a bit much? An American citizen losing their citizenship over disagreeing with a foreign country?
Once again, my stance is simple. I think that there's some things that happen that I don't agree with, but that does not take away from the bigger picture here.
But if you're America first, shouldn't you put American citizens first? Why would
I
you
absolutely put American citizens first.
So why would you take away their citizenship?
I put American citizens first in the United States.
Yeah, and these American citizens in the United States were deported for criticizing a foreign country.
Where were they originally from?
Does that matter? They're American citizens.
It does matter. Where were they originally from?
The
same argument was used with the guy who was in MS-13 that they deported back to El Salvador. When people asked, well, where was he originally from? It didn't matter. He was in America. No, it does matter.
That's not what I said. I said American citizen.
He was in the citizenship status.
No.
He was here.
Not status, full citizen.
He was here completely legally.
You're okay with that then?
He got deported back to El Salvador because he was a member of MS-13. He was a thug. He was a criminal, and he needed to be removed. So when I asked,
but is that to the same level of criticizing a foreign country?
What is the country of origin for those individuals? Because where did they get deported to?
Couldn't tell you.
See, and so
However,
that's why, and folks, that's why full context matters.
It does. No, it doesn't.
Full context matters.
Being a member of a criminal organization is not the same as criticizing a foreign government while in the United States.
Find out what country they were originally.
Why does that matter?
It matters a lot.
But they didn't commit a crime. We have free speech in America. Why would they be deported for criticizing a foreign country?
You find out the truth of that story because as it stands right now, as of yesterday, no U.S. citizen has been deported. That's number one. No U.S. citizen has been deported. So, and that was highly debated. I believe it was at Stanford or Oxford 2-3 days ago. They had a whole debate panel about it. And the fact checker said no U.S. citizens at this time have been deported. So I would go back and look at it, read it a little bit more, come back to us, and, let's really see what happened there. And let's really get the truth on that.
You know what? I'll humor you for a second. But there's another reason why I'm a bit worried about this, and that was the hurricane assistance being withheld if the state did not support the state of Israel. Did you hear about that one?
Once again, I can only focus on what's happening right now currently in our country. Right? While you're reading about Israel over there, there is flood relief currently being debated in the state of Texas that we cannot pass for the American people because, or not even the American people, the people of Texas, because Texas Democrats are fleeing to Illinois and California. Right? So when I say there are bigger fish to fry, this is what we're talking about. Right? Republicans continuously lose the messaging war because we constantly talk about stuff that does not actually matter. What matters right now is hundreds of people lost their life in the hillside. And the Texas Democrats fled the state because they didn't get their way. And so now the flood relief, the disaster relief, the new infrastructure cannot be voted on because the Texas House does not have a quorum. Because Texas House Democrats, paid off by Beto O'Rourke and George Soros, have fled. Robert Francis, right? We talk about him all the time on here. Robert Francis paid for private jets to take the Texas House Democrats out of Texas to break quorum because they didn't like that they weren't getting their way.
I didn't know he had money like that.
Exactly. He doesn't. Funneled by George Soros. You always got to look at the bigger picture, folks. You always have to look at the bigger picture. When someone who doesn't actually have money is out doing something that requires them to spend thousands of dollars, look at who's sitting next to them. Look at what's going on next to them, right? You see someone online and, they're not there. They get $1,000 steak. Look at the person next to them. They didn't do it themselves. I guarantee it. That's what's happening, right? Beto has no money in his pocket. So he's turning around to George Soros and friends. That's what we're going to call them, George Soros and friends. And they're getting this money, which is why Mays Middleton, great American patriot Mays Middleton, he's running for attorney general. He said, on day one, we're going to investigate Robert Francis and George Soros. On day one. And if Beto paid for a single thing that helped the Democrats break quorum, that is considered bribery, and that is a crime, and he's going to jail. That's Mays Middleton. That's Mays Middleton, right? And I also think that this is important that as Republicans, that we elect people that actually know how to write policy, that actually know how to write legislation, not someone who just gets up there and says, I'm a Republican, I'm MAGA, vote for me. That means nothing to me. Do you know how to write legislation? Do you know how to write policy? Why do I point that out? Let's look at Briscoe Cain right now. Are you familiar with Briscoe Cain?
No.
Briscoe Cain is the state representative for like Baytown, Pasadena, that kind of area. If the redistricting happens, CD9 would be like Briscoe Cain's area. Great guy. I think he should run. We'll see what happens with that. But he wrote legislation that says that if a member is absent from their position for 7 days or a certain amount of roll calls, they are immediately removed from their seat for, vacating their office. That's what we need more of. People who don't just scream on Facebook, the Democrats are not here, guys. No. How about you go and you write policy? Write policy that says, hey, guys, look, the Democrats aren't here. Shame on you, Democrats. Now you're about to lose your seat. And explain that. Draw that line. But instead, the Republican Party right now, there's certain... I take that back. The Republican Party right now... Okay, I take that back. There are members of the Republican Party who think that they have a say and think that they have power when they actually don't. Okay? Because instead of... And for people that are like, who is he to say what the Republican Party needs to do and doesn't need to do? I'll get to that in a minute. There are people who think that they have power or think that they have influence in the Republican Party landscape of Texas, and they don't. They don't. You say their name in a room, and one, people go, no clue who that is, or two, they frown and go, absolutely not, we would never. Right? Then we have those who you say their name in a room, and people go, I really like that guy. I really like that girl. I really like them. I think they should do more. I think they should run for something. And then you have two reactions to that. I'm not running for something. Or number two, they go, you know what? Yes, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. I'm actually going to get in the fight. And it's unfortunate that, when you look at like county level politics, Brian, and you know this from just experience, is when I'll use, YCF, for example.
Yeah.
As, president of YCF, if you go and you take that step to say, you know what, guys, I can't do YCF right now. I'm going to run for office or I'm going to do this. all the good people that are really involved in politics are going to, well, you know what, Brian, we're going to go work on your campaign. That's fine and dandy, but the people left at YCF are the people who don't do anything. It's the nobodies. We look at like precinct chairs. A lot of people are precinct chairs, and then they go and run for a higher office, and then the only people that are precinct chairs now are the ones who never did anything in the first place, and probably shouldn't be precinct chairs either anyway. And so that's the political landscape of the Republican Party right now.
Yeah, you described it pretty well, but that's just, I mean, a general thing. I mean, you see that in business, you see that in politics, you see it anywhere. Mm-hmm. The good people always move up, and the people who are left doing those menial jobs are people who genuinely shouldn't be qualified, but no one else was there who wanted the job, so they get it.
Right.
I mean, I don't really think that's groundbreaker or anything, personally. I just think that's common sense to anyone who's worked in organizational anything, whether organizational parts of business or politics.
Yeah. And I think, and that's why you have to do background checks to see, are these people really qualified for the job that they're running? How long have they been doing this? And now for people saying, who are you to say what someone needs to do in the Republican Party? This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Baytown Sun. I'm going to cover my face for a second so you can see it. Boom. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Baytown Sun. It's the newspaper of my local area, of my great county, Chambers County. And if you pay attention, right here, who is that, Brian?
I don't know. Why don't you tell the audience?
I don't know. Let's read it. 20-year-old runs for chairman of Chambers County GOP. Patrick Prudhomme graduated from Goose Creek Memorial in 2023, page 5B. Patrick Prudhomme, that sounds familiar. Do you know? I know that guy.
Sounds familiar, but couldn't tell you who it is.
I don't know. Maybe we got to keep reading.
Maybe.
We got to keep reading. Page 5B. So now, wrong side. We got this guy. Hold on. Give me a second. There we go. This guy. Wait. There we go. This guy. On page 5B, folks. I'll get you an autographed copy of this later on. And, you know, I don't know how to read newspapers, y'all. Give me a second. Is this? No.
There's pages on the top, Pat.
Thank you so much, Brian. You're such a sweetheart. That's 1B. That's 2B. Give me a second here, folks. That's 3B.
Anyhow, he was being deported back to Jordan. That's where.
5B. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Look at that, black and white.
But
Fancy.
boom. Right? There it is again.
Conservative influencer.
Ryan, do you want to read it for us?
No.
I guess I'll do the honors. Because Brian doesn't want to read it.
I mean, I think it's your announcement. I think it's more fitting you read it, you know? Your honor.
You're right. Well, now we know Patrick Prudhomme, a 20-year-old influencer, is running for Chambers County GOP chair. That doesn't really tell us much. We don't know who Patrick Prudhomme is yet. We're still trying to figure it out. Boom. Now we got us a story.
Who wrote it?
This is by a woman named Kendall McGinty. Kendall McGinty. Let's read it, folks. Conservative influencer announces candidacy for Chambers County GOP chairman. Patrick Prudhomme, a 20-year-old conservative strategist and grassroots organizer, announced Friday his candidacy for chairman of the Chambers County Republican Party. County Republican chairmen in Texas are responsible for overseeing local party operations, supporting GOP candidates, organizing primaries and conventions, and serving as a liaison between precinct leaders and the state party. The primary election is scheduled for March 3rd, 2026. The candidate filing period opens November 8th and closes December 5th. The candidate filing, Prudhomme worked on Prudhomme worked on President Donald Trump's 2020 digital campaign and on high-profile Senate races in 2024. According to a Friday news release, he said he is bringing national political experience to local party leadership. I've been honored to fight for conservative victories across this country, but now it's time to bring that fire and focus home to Chambers County. Prudhomme said, "We will build a Republican Party that's proactive, not reactive, bold in today's fight, relentless in defending conservative values, and committed to delivering for the Republicans of this county." In his announcement, Prudhomme shared how his political views developed over time. "I was raised in a house of Democrats, but my faith, family values, and love for Texas changed that," he said. Prudhomme also served as vice chair of Blexit, Texas, as an initiative focused on engaging Black and Hispanic conservatives and encouraging broader outreach among younger Republican voters. "This fight cannot just be about winning elections. It has to be about building a party that works as hard as the people it represents. Chambers County deserves bold, honest, and unapologetic leadership. That's exactly what I intend to deliver as your next county chairman." Folks, for those asking, who is he to say what the Republican Party needs? That's who I am. This is me. This is me when the Patriots Den cameras are off. And this is me. Active for not 1, not 2, not 5, not 7, but 10 years in the political field. And so I am appalled by some of the candidates the Republican Party has up right now. Appalled. I know who I've worked for. I know how many races I've lost and how many races I've won. We're working on them. I've never lost an election, ever. Whether that be for the school board, or whether that be like a school election or a college election. I have never, Brian can testify, I have never lost an election, and I don't plan on this being my first one either. Ain't that right, Brian?
We shall see. Speaking of which, who's your opponents for this election?
Right now, no one else has, publicly announced that they're running. We have some ideas, but we're just gonna let we're gonna let everything play out. We'll see what happens.
Oh man, wouldn't it be that nice? A little no contest.
That would be good. Who would ever want to run against such a guy? Qualifications through the roof.
I think Robert might have throw his hat in the ring.
Please, Robert.
He might fly you out of the state so you can't run.
Please, Robert, be my guest. I'll give him another loss in his category, and he'll give me another win in mine. Be my guest. Experience through the roof. And, it bothers me when I see people who are, how do I say this nicely and kindly? Opportunist, who have no experience. They have no background in business. They have no background in politics. They have no background in policy. They just know how to give the sweet talking points of Fox News and CNN and everyone else. And they are put up. And they're supposed to be good candidates. Folks, we're about to go into a primary season. A primary season. Candidate quality matters. Who you choose in the primary is who eventually goes on and represents you in the general election. It's most important when you're trying to unseat, an incumbent, or if it's an open seat. If it's, if the incumbent wins the primary, most people aren't worried about that because they've done it before. They can win the general election because they did it last time. But when you are not the incumbent and you are running in areas that, are, swing or, already heavily Democrat or things of that nature, messaging matters. When I worked on the Kerry Lake campaign for Senate, we knew what it was going to be like, Brian. We knew this was going to be a hard race, and inevitably she did not win. I'm still proud to work on that. I'm still proud to say that I helped in that aspect. But we were given campaign briefs, and we were told, okay, how do we submit this message, right, but to these different categories of people? How do we present that? And that's what I did. It says it here. Patrick Prudhomme, a 20-year-old conservative, strategist, and grassroots organizer. That was my job. I did strategy for campaigns to help people win their campaigns. That's what I did. And right now, there are a group of people in the Republican Party that are running a race with no strategy. There's no strategy at all. And it's unfortunate especially after this redistricting, I can only imagine what's about to happen with the opportunists that are going to, jump in because new districts are arriving and they think that, I have a better chance at winning now than I did before. They're going to try to jump in the race and, do all that. And then you have people that are going to try to buy their seats. There's always, that. But when it comes to experiencing a candidate, Brian, is this not what we're looking for?
Hey, you get the youth too. Grassroots, no political lobbyists either. You don't have to worry about someone else putting money in the candidate's pocket.
Exactly.
I think that's as good as you can get.
Yeah.
Because I think we do need some more youth in today's politics. Because, man, these boomers, man.
But I mean, and I tell people all the time, when primary season really kicks off and I start, showing my support for certain candidates in the primaries and things like that, and, people disagree and tell me I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to always look back and I'm going to say, put your resume against mine. It's like football, You have the D-line and the O-line. They line up on the line, and let's see which one gets through. We're running the ball. That's what I do. I run the ball. Brian, you've seen me coach a football game. I like to run that ball. Put your best man up against my best man. Let's go resume for resume. Campaign for campaign, whatever a person wants to do. But I think it's now time that people start realizing that candidate quality matters. I thought that the midterm would have showed us. What was the midterm where Dr. Oz ran in Pennsylvania?
22.
22. I said, what in the world? Why is Dr. Oz a candidate? He doesn't even live in Pennsylvania. He lived in what, New Jersey?
Yeah, New Jersey and New York, I believe.
Running for candidate quality matters. It's time for some qualified people to start stepping up. Brian has already, been itching at the idea of running for city council in Houston. I don't know what's taking him so long. But launch the campaign, buddy. I got some great consultants that'll work for you. Candidate quality matters. A background matters. A resume matters. A history of winning matters. Don't believe me? Take a look at Trump. Trump had a history of winning. That's why he won in 2016. Greg Abbott, when he ran for governor the first time, had a history of winning. That's why he won. Ron DeSantis, a history of winning. That's why he won. You can't find me any politician. Mike Johnson, a history of winning. That's why he's the Speaker of the House right now. Byron Donalds has a history of winning in the House of Representatives. That's why he's about to be Florida's next governor. You have to have some kind of background, some kind of history, something people can cling on to. Not just because your voter registration says you're a Republican, not just because your voter registration says you're a Democrat. What do you actually offer to the table? Are you just a loud, pathetic, weak voice? Or are you actually strategy? Are you actually policy? Are you actually something that adds victory to whatever you're about to run for, whatever that is?
I mean, you said it pretty good. I know you're just trying to hype yourself up. Clip Farm for your Instagram. I guarantee this is going to be on his Instagram for his campaign by the end of the week. Just like that little monologue right there. Like, we need experience. We need youth. We need energy. We need that resume. And boom, right there. Easiest campaign commercial ever.
And I like the thing in the background, too.
Yeah, right there. And then you got the little skyline in the background, too.
What we need. This is how we win. This is how we boom, boom. Maybe. You may be onto something. You may be onto something.
I did some marketing back in high school, if you didn't know.
And I'm a strategist and grassroots organizer, according to this article. It's true. It's true. It's a great article, to be frank with you.
When did it come out? The newspaper. Date's on the top left, I believe.
Figure that out for me. Thank you.
August 3rd, right there.
There it is.
Last
there
Sunday.
it is, folks. Last Sunday.
2 Sundays ago. My bad.
I'll get you a signed copy. You want a signed copy?
Sure, I'll frame it, right there. It'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll get you a signed copy. Do you want like this part like the signed copy, like this, and then like I sign it like like here where you can't actually read what it says?
Go crazy. Whatever sells for the most.
Or do you want like the full package? Like boom, I give you this.
Why don't you just sign both?
Then, like,
full package? You sign both of them. You sign
both pages?
Yeah, sign over the Astros guy.
Sign it over Correa?
Yeah.
and then like side by side frame it like that. Bam.
Boom,
Or
right
like
there.
that, or however you want to do it. In
I
your
mean,
home.
hey, that's a square. Most frames are, a good rectangle. So I
Right.
can put the small one on the side and then the
And
big
then
one
boom,
on the.
yeah, I like that. I like
Exactly.
that idea. I like that idea. Well, that
You know.
see, folks, y'all have to have a vision. Y'all don't have the vision like me and him. That's why we're here and you're not.
Exactly. That's why you're watching and we're producing.
Exactly.
There we go.
Thank you so much. I missed it. I didn't know where it was. I missed it. We had an opportunity to do something so great, and I dropped the ball. So that's on me, Hey, what can I say? Things happen. Accidents happen all the time.
Yeah.
Get over yourself. Candidate quality matters. Check the resume. Put the resumes against themselves. I've been in politics for 10 years. My resume is listed. My resume can take up
Oh. What is
a
that?
section of a newspaper.
3 paragraphs?
Shh. We didn't ask you. They left some stuff out, okay? There was so much more that they could have added that they didn't. Prudhomme worked on President Donald Trump's 2020 digital campaign and on high-profile Senate races in 2024. They could have listed the Senate races and what I did. They didn't because they didn't know the details. They didn't reach out to me. If you would have reached out to me, I would have gave y'all a great article.
Well, they did that without reaching out?
Without reaching out.
Ain't that something?
Without reaching out.
It sounded way too nice for them to have not reached out. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Exactly. No, they didn't. They didn't. They took everything from the press release and the video we released. So
Look at that, doing their own research. Must be honored, Pat.
I am. But everything that they said here is just the stuff that was in the.
Yeah, it's a regurgitation.
They summarized it. Great journalism. Great job.
Do you think they use ChatGPT at the newspapers now to get their summaries made?
I used ChatGPT from after the article dropped. I went on ChatGPT and I said, ChatGPT, who is Patrick Prudhomme? And it said Patrick Prudhomme is a conservative influencer running for Chambers County GOP chair.
Ain't that something? Oh, they probably wrote a web article about it too.
Yes, they did. They did. And I posted the web article on Facebook. I'm excited because, folks, now I'm a candidate. And last week we didn't have the show because I was doing candidate things. I actually have a luncheon with Congressman Luttrell today at 11:30. And the place is 35 minutes away from here, and the show ends at 11. So you do the math, and you figure out how I'm going to get there early. I'm not. Hopefully we got some. That's why I've been kind of over here texting to try to get hey,
Buy some time.
Get that table for me. Get this for me. That way when I get there, it's just a straight walk in and go. I forgot about the meeting with Morgan Luttrell until before the show started. I was making lunch plans and everything. Ask him. I was making lunch plans. It's not going to happen, folks. You'll see the post of me and Morgan Luttrell. Jeez. Later today. Do you know Congressman Luttrell, right?
Sure.
He doesn't know Congressman Luttrell. He knows Dan Crenshaw. He knows Dan. You know Dan Crenshaw, don't you?
Erg.
You love Dan Crenshaw. He's a Dan Crenshaw enthusiast, folks. You know who else he likes? You know Al Green? You know Al Green?
I love Al Green.
Of course you do. Al Green, the singer, is my cousin. Not the congressman, the singer.
And you just have a lot of cousins, don't you?
I do have a lot of cousins. But Al Green, the singer, is my cousin. But, he knows all the people that we don't like. That's because Brian, deep down inside, is a communist. And a rhino.
That's a first, Pat. I've never heard that one before.
You've never been called a communist?
And a rhino in the same sentence.
Oh, I'm glad I could be the first. You've been called a rhino, though.
Yeah, by you.
And you've been called a communist.
Yeah. By your good friend Caleb.
By Caleb Holmes. I just brought the two together. That's all I did. I brought the two ideas together and put it on like that. Communist rhino. I don't even know if those exist. But
Spell communist.
COMMUNIST. Communist.
Is that so hard to read?
It's so small that I couldn't read where the.
I thought you would have known it by now. That's like.
Hey.
Yeah, you click
Hey,
3 buttons on that thing. You could use that one more often. I'm just saying.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Folks, I don't have time for the shenanigans today by the Fuentesimo. He's a communist rhino. We've labeled it out. We've established that. Now let's dive deeper. Put his resume up against mine. And you'll find that deep down inside, Fuentesimo was just a musician, like on The Wiz, the man behind the carpet. And in reality, the little man. Resumes, folks. Resumes. What Brian won't tell you is he helped Beto fund the Texas Democrats to go to California.
Damn. Is this how it's going to get released?
This is it. This
All right,
is it.
well-
I'm exposing everything today.
All right, guys. Well, unfortunately, this is true. I was personally refueling those jets as they did those flights. Yeah, it's crazy. I used to work as a jet refueler for a Works campaign. I mean, how do you think he got all over the place so quickly? Like,
So quickly.
you think he just walked everywhere to run
From
for these campaigns?
from the campaign HQ back to his house within 5 minutes because the campaign was already called.
That was all me.
That's beautiful.
No one else can refuel those planes as fast as me.
Thank you for supplying Beto with his jet fuel because
You know, it's helping the Texas economy. You know, we're built off petroleum. We're built off oil. Our Texan oil is fueling those planes.
absolutely
You know, creating American jobs, and we couldn't do it without Beto.
couldn't do it. You folks, Robert Francis. I don't even think he's in Texas right now. I think he's doing like a tour somewhere with Bernie Sanders. But
That guy's still alive?
Bernie is still. Don't kill Bernie. Why would you do that?
I'm just saying, he had like to drop out back in 2020 because of a heart condition or something.
No, he dropped out because the DNC establishment told him to drop out.
I thought it was 2016.
He didn't run in 2020, did he?
That's the thing. I thought he was trying to. Heart condition, dropped out of the race.
I don't pay attention to
2016
that.
was when he, got screwed over by the.
By the establishment, Barack
Against
Obama
Hillary.
and
Yeah.
Hillary did their big one. They
Yeah, because
did their big one, too.
I think he won the primary, but they just gave it to Hillary anyways.
If you think what they did to Biden was bad, just go back and look at 2016.
Dude, Biden just wanted to retire at that point.
Biden didn't want to run in 2020, but they forced him to because they knew he'd be the only one who could, they could cheat and give him the win and people wouldn't question it.
Miss Biden,
I do. No, I was talking to a Democrat last night actually, and I said I miss him. Compared to if it was him versus if when it comes down to Biden or Kamala, give me Biden. I'll take Biden 100% over Kamala Harris because I can at least sometimes understand what Biden says. I can understand anything Kamala Harris says. We live in the context of which we are today. I don't even know what that means.
Well, the thing about Biden is, I like a fun theory of mine, I don't think this is true, is that he's fully conscious of what he does. And an example of that, which makes this really funny, is when he told Elton John he's the reason why we have to spend so much money on AIDS research. And, just Joe Biden had a lot of these gaffes where, like, we would make fun of him for it because he's like, why is our president doing this? But if you take away the president angle of it and it's just an old man, it's just your grandpa doing some things that,
They put Grandpa in the White House, and Grandpa was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
It's like a
here."
2000 movie, really.
Yeah.
Like, you remember back in the 2000s, they were making movies about anything?
Yeah.
And they had like those like gaff movies where it's like, what if we had this man do something really important? That's what Joe Biden's presidency was. And you had a lot of funny moments because of it. We made fun of it for it because we're the laughing stock of the world, but once again, miss him for it because it was kind of...
I had fun. I had so much content, so much to talk about. Trump is, so great that it's boring. There's no there's no crime, there's no inflation. Like we're deporting 1,000 people a day. Like it's like, come on, man. I understand you want to make America great again, but we got 4 years. Slow down. We got time. We can go on cruise control. Let the car drive itself for a second, right? Because this is. Is there a timeout on here? Is there a timeout?
I don't think so.
There we go. Scratch the record. Stop it.
Well, we're on our fabulous President Trump. I was hoping to get your thoughts on something that's coming up this weekend, if it does end up happening.
What's coming out this weekend?
So, President Trump and Vladimir Putin are going to be having a summit in Alaska. And I was wondering what your predictions are for that summit.
It's going to be one of the greatest summits we've ever seen. Two great leaders coming down, sitting together. No Zelensky, because Zelensky's scared. He wouldn't do it.
He's losing the war as well.
Yeah, he's scared. He's not going to come. But I think it's good. Trump is, the peace president. And I saw someone say that you cannot deny Trump the Nobel Peace Prize if he ends the Russia-Ukraine war. You can't do it. And so I think that that's what this is about. Is he's gonna really try to end this Ukraine-Russia war because it's unfortunate what's happening. It's nonsense and it doesn't need to happen. We can stop this.
Well, the reason I bring it up is I do think Trump needs to end the war because one of his big campaign promises was within 24 hours, this war will end. Mm-hmm. We obviously know that didn't happen.
And I don't think that was his fault. I think that's just
I just think
the
that was
parties
bad.
that be.
I think, like I said, Trump's campaign did a lot of good things, but I also think they did a lot of bad things in 2024. I think you and I discussed it on the show, actually, like the big tent approach, a lot of their over-promising. It was good during the campaign to an extent. I disagreed with a lot of it.
It helped him win, though.
It did help him
Yeah,
win.
that's what.
But I mean, now we're kind of seeing the consequences of promising all these things. But he doesn't need a re-election, so I mean, does it really matter?
I think that's a big thing too. Is Trump's not up for re-election, and so a lot of the things that he's doing, it's like he doesn't have to suffer like true consequences of anything.
Like he was back in 2016.
Like he was back in 2016, because he's not running any more elections, unless he wants to run for Senate or like House or something.
He's too old for that,
and
though.
he's too old, and he's too high up there to be just a normal representative on the House floor. Could you imagine Trump just like a regular representative on the House floor?
I couldn't. I think that would be too below him, frankly.
It'd be too below him. He'd get, quite frankly, the speaker is garbage. I should be the speaker, and the president should be impeached. He'd file articles of impeachment every day. The State of the Union would be the funniest part, because he'd stand up. Fake news. He's lying. That's not true. Where's the meat? He'd look for the camera. He's a showman. He's a showman. He'd look for the camera, and he'd make gestures and all kinds of things. I think it would be great.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying, though, the reason I bring that up is I don't remember if you know this, but they threatened Russia a while back ago, a few days ago, weeks ago, where they said, if you don't end the war now, we're going to send missiles to Ukraine or something along those lines. Well, as you can probably guess, that didn't happen. The war's still going on. And unfortunately, Ukraine is running out of people to kidnap off the streets.
I'm glad you brought this up, because Trump just revealed the game plan. I just got this notification.
Oh, ain't that something?
Trump reveals game plan for Putin meeting. It's like chess. So
You want to go ahead and read that while I give a little monologue?
I don't know what that means. They didn't give me more than that.
You can't click on it to read more?
Good. Let's see what it says.
Yeah. Well, the reason I bring this up is if y'all have been keeping up with the developments in the Russia-Ukrainian war, there's been a massive breakthrough, and I think near Pokrovsk, I believe. And it's genuinely crazy. I mean, Russia has been being able to gain miles of land that has been unseen since the start of the war. And if this keeps up, we could genuinely see a Russian victory, just because Ukrainians aren't able to keep up with it. The reason drones have been so effective in Ukraine, I think you've seen all these videos of like drones taking out tanks, infantry, is because it's so static. When you're not moving very fast, very quickly, you can set up a drone headquarters, and that thing can, take control of its area pretty easily. If you're not moving too quickly, a drone can take you out pretty well. However, now that we're going back to the start of the war, where we have miles of land being taken by the Russians, we see that drones aren't as effective anymore by the Ukrainians in defense, which leads to Russians being able to snowball and take even more land. And if this keeps up by the time the conference starts, Russia is in a very advantageous position, because it's no longer a stalemate war where Russia fights very hard for, cities over months. We're going to be starting to see cities fall in weeks again, which genuinely could mark an end of the war with or without Trump's help. And that's the thing I'm curious about. How would the U.S. media react to that? A Russian victory in the Ukrainian war without Trump negotiating a peace?
So we'll just kind of play the clip here. It's an ad.
Oh, it's an ad.
We'll give it 30 seconds. But no, Trump went on Fox News this morning, the Brian Calmeade show, and he basically gives us the game plan, or the layout of what he anticipates to come from this meeting.
Seems like pretty bad strategy, if you ask me. Telling your opponent what your plan is.
But that's the thing. I don't know if it's, and we don't know exactly what he said. We're about to find that out now.
Go there, and I'm representing a lot of people.
Okay, wait.
Well, I'm going to go there, and I'm representing a lot of people, and especially people that are being killed unnecessarily, like 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week. They're not Americans, but their lives, their souls. And if I can stop something, I've stopped 6 wars this year. Yeah, this was going to be one of my easy ones, but it never works out that way. This turns out to be probably the most difficult. I stopped one that was raging for 35 years, one that was raging in the Congo with Rwanda, you know that, for 31 years. And this one is raging for 3.5 years, and I'm not happy about it. It's ridiculous, and we're going to get it stopped. We're going to get it stopped. I inherited this from Joe Biden, but we're going to get it stopped.
There it is.
So Vladimir Putin just spoke, and I have the readout, if I could share it with you. He's just said the American administration, which as everyone knows is making, in my opinion, quite energetic and sincere efforts to stop the hostilities, stop the crisis, and reach agreements that are in the interest of all parties involved in this conflict in order to create long-term conditions of peace between our countries and in Europe and in the world as a whole. If we reach agreements in the area of control over strategic offensive weapons at the next stage, and then it's cut off. So he seems to be in the right mindset going in. How will you know if he's in the mindset for a ceasefire and a long-term end to the conflict?
Well, I think you'll know that in the first couple of minutes, but I think you already know that because he's coming to Alaska. He's coming to the USA, and I think you know that. I think that's a nice statement. I just heard it. You gave me a little breaking news. I appreciate it. But I think he wants to get it done. I really feel he wanted the whole thing. I think if it weren't me, if it was somebody else, he would be not talking to anybody. He wasn't talking. You know, when I was previous to being elected, unfortunately, the 2020 election where we did so well, it was very unfortunate, the result. But what happened is when I came in, I realized, I said, this is a man that really wants the whole thing. And I think he does want the whole thing, and I think he has wanted the whole thing. But because of a certain relationship that he has with me running this country, I believe now he's convinced that he's going to make a deal. He's going to make a deal. I think he's going to, and we're going to find out. I'm going to know very quickly. We're going to go into the meeting. We're going to see him. We're going to. I won't do what Bush did.
Yeah, I think we get the idea.
I'm not going to do that. I'll look him right in the eye, but I feel a little bit differently than Bush. It didn't work out too well for Bush. Remember this, Brian. Under Bush, they lost a lot of land. Under Obama, they lost a lot of land, Crimea. Under Biden, they would have lost the whole thing if he had won the president. They would have lost the entire Ukraine.
Well, there we go. Putin looks like he's like, all right, let's get it done. Putin seems like he wants to end all of this. And Trump says, I'm going to look him in the eye and we're going to get it done. So,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not looking to. I don't think a deal's gonna be made here.
well, so further down, he says this is the first meeting where they want to have a second meeting.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump wants to end the war with this meeting. He wants Zelensky in the room as well.
But we both know it's not going to happen. Zelensky wants not only the war to, end, but also to get land back from Russia, which is not going to happen.
That's not the art of the deal, man. It's not the art of the deal.
Yep. He's going to have to give something up, but he just doesn't want to do that because his whole administration is built off of fight the Russians off until we get all of Ukraine back, and that's not going to happen. I mean, and like I said earlier, the war is genuinely, we're entering a new stage of the war where we're going back to fast movements across the plains of Ukraine. And I mean, genuinely, a month from now, we could genuinely see Ukraine fall to just the military itself. So, whatever negotiations happen here are going to have a big impact on how the war goes.
Absolutely. And so, folks, I'll stay by my phone and I'll keep you all updated on my social media. You'll know how to do. And, next week, I'm sure we'll have more information as well. So, hopefully, we'll be here next week.
Yeah, that's going to be our last Thursday show, isn't it, too?
I don't think so.
Well, week after that, school starts, my fellow friend.
That's true. We'll see. We'll see. So there's conversation there that needs to happen as well. So, folks, y'all stay tuned. I'm glad we were able to bring that to you live. The Patriots was able to bring that to you live. The live.
That's a first, isn't it?
It is. That's the first. We've, really. That's because I was looking at my phone. I'm like, what is this? One notification. No one's texting me right now. But so yeah. So, folks, we thank you so much for tuning into the Patriots Den. We got to get out of here. We got to go. Check the resume.
Check the resume.
Check the resume, folks. That's all we got for you today. Thank you for tuning into the Patriots Den. We'll see y'all next week.